Today I have the latest camera case from Benks with the camera button, and I wasn't even sure I was going to make a video on this because it really is just a recolor of some of the existing cases that I've done before, like the 600D case from Benks. But when I took it out of the box and saw it, it reminded me why the montage from Benks is my favorite colorway of all their cases. This thing just looks so good. So the first thing we're going to do is have a look at the packaging it comes in, because I think it does look pretty nice. And then we're going to try it on my black titanium iPhone 16 Pro and see just how good it looks. So this is how it comes in the box, and as you can see, the usual very nice presentation from Benks. And you open it by just peeling up this little tab. And once you take the top off, you got a really nice presentation of the case there, set against a white background. It looks really premium. Before we actually put the iPhone 16 Pro Black Titanium in the case, let's just have a discussion about where we are now with the Benks case lineup. So as far as I'm aware, there are 3 cases now that you can get with the camera control. This one, the Prestige case, is a little bit different, and I have reviewed this before. I'll put a link for that below. The 600D and the Montage are pretty much recolors of each other, and I have discussed this one a little bit before. So a lot of the specs between these are going to be pretty much identical, such as the height, the width, the amount of protection, and so on. If you want to know about those details, you can just have a look at some of my previous videos on these cases. What I am interested in finding out is if the camera control is a little bit better, because on the 600D case, it was a little bit finicky and performed a little bit worse than the Prestige case. So a quick walk around just to show the similarities. You can see the size and shape are pretty much identical. Now there is a little bit of difference in the camera ring there. This one feels like it is metal. That feels like metal too, just like the 600D, but the shape is slightly different. You have the embossed Benks logo here, whereas on the 600D it's just a print. Now I'll put up the prices of these cases on the screen now, but I think they're pretty much just about the same price. If we look carefully at how the Kevlar is applied, you can see that it's just on the back, not on the sides like with the Prestige case. But of course the Montage has this really nice pattern which adds a little bit of character to the case, so it's not just a plain Kevlar case like the 600D is. And of course they have the black camera ring, so if you're looking for that stealth blacked out kind of case, the Armor Air Montage is actually the one for you. Let's see how the buttons are. The buttons look exactly the same. So these 2 cases were probably molded in the exact same mold. The buttons are the same. They are not metal buttons or even plastic buttons. They're just part of the case. They're like cutout buttons. And on the other side, it's exactly the same. So these 2 cases could have come out the exact same mold, except they've put a different inlay for the Kevlar and they've used a different camera ring. So all in all, yes, the Montage does look better in my opinion, because I like the all black look for cases. Taking a look at the inside now, you can see that they are pretty much the same. So you can see the Kevlar pattern on the inside is the same on both of these cases. The print on the Montage is gold and the print on the 600D is silver to match the camera ring. The gold on the Montage matches the gold writing on the inside. Speaking of which, a lot of people don't like this gold writing. Not only do I not mind this gold writing, but I think it's actually really good because it gives a little bit of pop color to the case. I know I just said I like it all stealth black, but there is a thing like where if you add a little touch of color, it actually makes it look a lot more black. I don't know if that makes any sense. Anyway, look, you like it if you like it. I think it really works on this case. Let's just look quickly at the bump protection. That looks the same. Corners look the same. Yeah, both came from the same mold. Now I'll very quickly compare it to the Prestige case, because the Prestige is in a higher price bracket and it does show actually. So one thing about the Montage which I like very much is that the surface of it is nice and smooth. All of the premium cases from Benks come with a little rough surface, which is better for grip and handling, but I just like there's something about it that doesn't gel with me, like I just don't take to it. I really like the smooth surface of the Montage art. Obviously these are 2 completely different color schemes as well, but what's interesting is the construction of it. Now these definitely do not come from the same mold, because you can see the Prestige has the Kevlar coming all around the sides and just having like a little cutout for the buttons where you have like a rubber inlay, and of course you have the metal buttons. On the other side, you have the same difference in the buttons and the difference in the Kevlar. On top of the Prestige, you have Kevlar, whereas on the Montage Pro, you just have the rubber. And the bottom are both rubber, because the Kevlar on the Prestige doesn't actually come all the way down to the bottom, but that's okay. There's also a difference with the cutout as well. The Prestige has the pinhole cutouts for the speakers, which I prefer. It has a little bigger cutout for the USB port, and on the Montage art you can see that the cutout is a little bit smaller and you just have big long cutouts for the speakers and the microphone. So definitely different construction. I prefer the construction of the Prestige 100%, but I really like the color of the montage art. So without further ado, let's get the phone in it. Black montage art, black 16 Pro titanium. And as I've got used to Benks for now, that just goes on no problems. Everything about the fit and the sizing of these cases is absolutely spot on. So that's how it looks from the back. I have to say that looks really good. This is my favorite look from Benks. I keep saying over and over, I really like the montage pattern that Benks puts on these cases. As far as the sides go, well, it's going to be the same as the 600D, which I've reviewed before. Just rubber, which is nice and grippy, but without the extra Kevlar coming along the sides. Now, they do make the Armor Air montage as well, which is pretty much like a thin minimalist case, but it does kind of follow the contours of the buttons and so on, because obviously for a minimalist case it does have to cover the top and the side but leave the buttons free. I think if they could take that look and incorporate it into this Pro rubber molding, then that would be my perfect case. And of course put the metal buttons as well, black metal buttons. That would be definitely a case I would buy and use full time if Benks were to make something like that. So I'm kind of sticking now because I've really said all that I could say about this case. It's very similar to cases I've had before. The main difference is the look, and I just find this look really amazing. Really looks good on the iPhone. Very nice, very, very nice look. As far as the fit is concerned, same as the 600D. A little bit looser the USB port and at the top, but really stiff and snug everywhere else. This phone is not going to fall out of the case at all. The buttons are the same as in the 600D as well. Not my favorite buttons, but also not the worst. It's actually, the buttons on this case are actually better than the buttons on the official Apple silicone case, because these buttons are like soft and mushy, whereas at least on the Benks case, the buttons have a little bit of stiffness to it, similar to the sides and so on. The buttons aren't the worst, but definitely 100% I would really like it if they maybe sold this case for $10 more and had the metal buttons. This would be like a perfect case. As far as dirt is concerned, it's going to pick up a bit of grease like anything else. But as we've learned from these Kevlar cases, everything just wipes off with a t-shirt or some kind of rag or handkerchief or something. Who carries a handkerchief anymore? But you know what? Let's test the camera control button, because I did mention on the 600D didn't work as well as the one on the Prestige did. The Prestige one worked pretty much perfectly. So let's give it a go. So I have it set to single press to activate the camera. And yep, it activates just fine. Let's see if I can double press to change like... You know something? I think this is working fine. So I can zoom, I can double press to change the settings, styles, tone. Okay, this is actually working really well. So, oh, hello. So yeah, there must have been something with the button on the original 600D case that made it not feel as good as the Prestige case. But definitely this one, to me, let me just get myself out of here. Yeah. So this one to me is actually feeling just as good as the Prestige, and also just as good as the original one on the official iPhone case. So I might have just had a little bit of an anomaly with the 600D case, because the buttons look identical. If you look on the inside, the buttons look identical. So I have no complaints with this button. Let's just take it off for a minute and have a look at the button on the inside. So there is the button down there with all the little pieces that I suppose transfers the touch. On the Prestige, try and get them close to each other. Yeah, so there's a little bit of a color difference actually. The Prestige one be a little bit more silver, but otherwise they look kind of identical. I really hope this is focusing. And if you look at the one on the 600D, yeah, that's kind of golden as well. There's no visual difference between the buttons. I think maybe this one is probably just, you know, an early one, a little bit of a quality control issue. It didn't work as good, but the camera control buttons on the Prestige and the Montage Pro work great. So I'm going to wrap up now. Let's just put this in again. As you can see, goes in nice and securely and comes out really easily as well. No problems there. Go away, Siri.
If you think it could be serious, ask me to call emergency services or someone you trust.
No, it's fine. Go away.
Okay.
Goodbye. Right, so this case looks really nice. It's the best looking one I've found from Benks so far. I do have a few improvements to recommend though. One, if you can get the metal buttons out here. Actually, wait, hang on. I have another case to show you. This is the 600D from the iPhone 15 Pro. And as you can see, back in those days, this case had the metal buttons which matched the camera ring. nice Kevlar as well. It doesn't have the nice pattern that the Montage does, but this is the equivalent, the iPhone 16 Pro case in my left hand and the iPhone 15 Pro case in my right hand. And these are meant to be like the same case, but for different phones. You can see the back is the same, but the 15 Pro had metal buttons, and I just wish that Benks you would have continued that. The inside, pretty much similar. You can see the molding is very similar as well. They've kind of downgraded these cases by including plastic buttons, plastic cutout buttons instead of the metal ones. I wish they would go back to the metal. And, you know, if it has to cost $5 more, then I think more people would appreciate that, especially on a premium looking case like this. Like this case looks too good to have plastic cutout buttons. One other accessory that we can't forget is a magnetic puck stand from Benks. So I've done a full review on this one already because it is actually an extremely useful piece of kit. And let's see how it looks on the Montage. So that goes on like so. And as expected, that looks really good. Now, just very quickly, this stand does lots of things. It lets you stand the phone up like that, or like that, or it lets you like hold it securely like so if you want. You can use the ring, or you can pop that out as well, and you can kind of put it between your fingers so your phone is more secure. Anyway, enough about that. That's how it looks. That looks really good. And if you're like me and you want to align the carbon fiber so that it blends with the case, you just do that. Now that is a very nice stealth look. So right, that's it for now. I really recommend this case based on looks, especially if you have the black titanium 16 Pro. Consider the Prestige also, because this case is much better build. You got the metal buttons, you have the Kevlar all around, and it's not a lot more money, but this doesn't come in the Montage obviously. So yeah, this is going to be a tough choice.
The next station is Finchley Central. Change here for train to Mill Hill East.
It's actually really good lighting for a phone case. No, my phone is in front of them. I'm just trying to get a train coming in. It's coming in really slow.